What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host, and award-winning international Make Every Second Count speaker. I'm always pumped up to say that because that gives me a huge head, but I'm also pumped up about the show tonight. So our guest tonight is going to teach us how and why she went from child being abused as a child to being on a quest to help others heal from their trauma. And I am excited to learn that. But I ask you if you would please share this episode out. Invite all kinds of people to watch it. Don't forget to give us all kinds of thumbs up and hearts. And make sure you subscribe because you do not want to miss any future episodes of this show. And also, I forgot about this part, a very important part. So, in the comments, make sure you keep the conversation going because we want to have a conversation, not just make a presentation. So, if there's any questions you have, any ways that we might be able to help, don't be afraid to ask. We'll be glad to answer your question. But excuse me. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Miss Donna herself. Hello, Donna. How are you doing?
Hey, Jeff, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Oh, I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking.
You're
But
welcome.
if you would like to take a second and tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do, that would be amazing.
All right. And do I only get a second or do I get a few more than that?
Uh, I'll give you 5.
All right. Okay,
But
good.
I'm going to be inviting some people on my phone, so if it looks like I'm looking down, I am, but I am paying attention.
All right. That sounds great. I will take the floor for a bit.
All right, cool.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah. So thank you. I am Donna Temm, and I'm originally from Maine, but I am now living in South Carolina. I made that trip about a little over a year ago. And I was really fortunate because I was able to bring my clients with me now that a lot is remote. So I've been able to do the same type of work. I've been able to help in any way that I possibly can, in much the same ways that I've been able to do in the past. And that is actually through Donna Temm Alternative Solutions, which is my business that as of next month, September, I will have been in business for 20 years.
Wow.
And I know, I can't believe it.
You
And then,
don't look that old.
thank you. Officially
I
best friends, Jeff.
I wouldn't have put you above 25 years old.
Now you're just flattering me.
Yeah, I take tips after the show.
Okay. I'll be sure to reach out and give it to you.
All right,
Well,
cool.
thank you for that. But my newest project, which is very near and dear to my heart, and it has been, oh boy, I'm going to say maybe 15 years now, is my new nonprofit organization called the Donna Temm Trauma Support Foundation. We're just getting it up and running, and I'm excited about it and looking forward to seeing where it brings us and the number of people that we can touch through it.
Heck yeah, I'm pumped up about that with you. So, hey, if you guys are pumped up with her and me about that, put a number 1 in the comments. I would love to show Donna all kinds of support with her new endeavor. But I know personally from my own story, my own life, that life has a way of putting things in the way. Things that try to stop us, things that try to hold us back, things that try to prevent us from climbing that ladder of life. So has there been anything in your life that has tried to hold you back or hinder your start?
Absolutely. Yes. And I think one of the biggest things, I think certainly we all hit obstacles in life and we just keep going, right? And some of them are larger obstacles, some of them are smaller obstacles, but they still do get in the way. And I think one of the biggest ones for me was the child abuse that I endured. And so what happened was, there are different ways that individuals will deal with that. How do you deal with the child abuse when it's confusing, it's terrorizing, it's hard to understand? And so everybody deals with it in a different way. And the way I did it was I repressed those memories. And there were little tiny portions of those memories that I had, but they didn't really make sense to me until then they started to resurface after years and years. And so I really had to look at what I thought was my reality of my life, and what were things that were sort of figments of my imagination that I had made my life to be so that I could survive. And that was one of my ways of coping. And so that was right there a huge obstacle in my way, because it touched so many different aspects of my life. And I had to learn, how do you get around that? And I had to figure out first, did I want to get around that? It was a pretty shocking revelation when I realized just the depth of it. And I needed to just, figure out what's my next step, and do I want a next step?
Wow. So, guys out there in the audience, I'm asking you, has child abuse ever affected you? So that can be personally, that can be in someone else but has it ever affected you? And how did you deal with it? That is a very tough question.
Mm-hmm.
So how how did it make you feel once you started getting those suppressed memories back? Did you think they were just a dream or what?
Mm. It's funny because I think we tend to second guess ourselves. It's so incredulous that you think to yourself, this can't be true. Like this, I must be thinking incorrectly. I must be, misinterpreting something. And so, you then go on this quest to figure everything out and to say, is this real? Is this true? And then hopefully you get that support that you need. And that's what I did. I got professional support because I was trying to deal with it on my own, and I just was not doing well. And so I got that professional support, which was huge for me. And I started to sift through the pieces. I started to sift through what was actually coming up for me and making sense of it. And that was just such a huge step for me. And it led me to the next step. I think sometimes when we are dealing with something that seems so enormous, and it's so powerful, and it's, fearful, it makes you fearful. It gives you the anxiety. It just, I could go on and on and on. It brings up the terror and that type of thing, that sometimes we just don't even know, like, how do we even take that first step? And once we do take that first step, I can say that there is hope on the other side. And that's an important thing for people to know. Take a step, just take a step, and find the right people to support you. And regardless of what you're feeling, regardless of how you feel like you should just be, quiet about it, or you should just kind of go through it yourself, but it's something that is just one of the biggest first steps to take.
Yes. Now, I want to clarify well, not really clarify something, but I want to make a point out of what you said there. And that was take a step. Now, let's think about something for a minute. So there are all kinds of people that are unable to take a step. So what I say is, if you can't take a step, crawl. It doesn't matter how you get started. The thing is, you have to start. It's said that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And that is really true, because if people are in the midst of adversity or whatever they're facing, they have to take that first step. And that first step can be one of many of things. Like you said, you were looking for support. How exactly did you find that support, and how did you know it was the right support?
Right. That's a really good question. I think what I did was I reached out to a family member first. And, I was actually already in counseling because I felt as though my life was just falling apart and there was no good reason for it. I had a really good life. So, I kept thinking, what is happening to me? Am I just ungrateful? Am I just not appreciating the things that I have? And it felt just deeper. So I actually had got into counseling for that. And I had a session with my counselor of something called EMDR, which was really, really powerful. And that's when I think my counselor knew a little more about what might be coming up for me than I did at that time. And she gave me her home phone number and said, in the next 24 hours, if anything comes up, reach out to me. And I was like, I'm not calling you at home. You know what I mean? I'll wait until it's the right time when your office hours are. And, but boy, she was right. And the memories started to resurface at that point. So I'm really grateful that I did have something already in place where I had a professional. But then as things started to come up, that professional didn't really know me and my personal life. She didn't know the little details of what was happening when I was younger. And so I reached out to my siblings, and they were able to help me put the pieces together. Like I could remember certain aspects of what my bedroom looked like, but I couldn't remember why I was seeing certain types of things. And they were able to say, oh yeah, that was bunk beds. We took them apart. And then it was, so that's why you had 4 posts there, those little things. So it was just, there were different types of individuals that were able to help me. From there, I started, looking into not just the counselor and not just my siblings, but also other avenues, which, then led me into being an alternative therapist, because I started seeking out other ways that I could heal, that I could release these triggers from my body. And when I saw it was working, it's like, okay, there's something to this, and I want to do this for people. And so that was sort of a whole other type of support that I got, before taking that next step to do it myself.
Yes. Now, I'm curious, what is EMDR?
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. It's eye movement, and I'm going to botch it, but I can look it up for you later. It's like, I can tell you the process. I always forget what they mean, but basically what it is there are paddles that you hold or earphones that you have, and it actually does these little beeps and these little vibrations. And so what happens is, as you're processing through any kind of memory, you're looking at it as though you're on a train just watching it go by. But sometimes when we have trauma, and I certainly hope that professionals out here who are really good at EMDR are able to sort of step in and go, she's right here, she's not right there. But in my unprofessional opinion, and what I experienced was that, basically, when we have trauma, if we don't have those synapses that are able to connect the right brain and the left brain, the emotions with the logic, and we can't reason through what has happened, then we are stuck. That's where we get stuck. And we either place it as a trigger in the body that may come up again later in any kind of way, or we reason it through somehow. And EMDR helps us to get it from that emotional brain over to the logical brain so that we can then begin to release it. We can try to bring some understanding to it, however that may be, and be able to move beyond it and move past it. And I'll tell you what, it is powerful. It is very powerful.
EMDR.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up after the show because I'm quite interested.
Yeah, it's
But
great.
I need to say hello to Evan Kyle. Hi to my dad. Hi to April Bubeck. And hi to Kimmy Beatrice. And she is actually from Uganda. So
Ooh.
this is an international show. And I just wanted to point out that she said hello, guys.
Ah, hello. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, we thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget that you can invite other people from Uganda or somewhere else to watch the show as well. So I'm curious now. Like, since this show is about helping others,
Mhm.
how can others find the support that you found?
Yeah. You know, there are so many places out there that offer support. And when we look at trauma, it's not just trauma from abuse. You know, that is one avenue of trauma. We can look at trauma as also being shock. It can be grief. It can be chronic stress. It can be loss of a loved one. You know, there's just so many ways to define trauma. And what the beautiful thing is that there are so many places that are out there, so many different communities that have either nonprofits or that have some kind of a support system that you can reach out to. There's often hotlines that people can reach out to. So I would say whatever it is that your trauma it is, you know, whatever it is that you are actually dealing with, I would do an internet search and I would look something up like that. And these people, they are so highly trained that they will know how to help. That's their thing. And, you know, I always say, I like to stay in my lane. I know what I know. I know what I've experienced. I know what I know professionally, what I've been trained for. But then I also know when I need to say, this is out of my lane. And I now need to say, maybe you can call here, maybe you can call there. The other piece is call your insurance company and say, you know, because I know sometimes when you're in a struggle like this, and you've got a lot of trauma that you're dealing with, it just seeps into every single aspect of your life. And so sometimes the finances aren't always there for you. So reach out to your insurance companies, whatever you have for insurance, and say, who can I see? How can I get help to find a counselor? And, you know, there's so many out there. Some insurances even will have like teledoc counselors where it's free. And so, you know, please don't let finances ever hold you back. And I know that is such a big piece for people, but there's so many things out there. And that's part of the reason why the Donna Temm Trauma Support Foundation is going to be raising money through donations and the proceeds from my personal memoir to be able to give these other nonprofits and these charities some money, because they're the ones who really know what to do for their particular audience, their particular people who need their help. So reach out, find anyone. If you have, like, if you're like, I don't even know how to reach out, I don't even know how to find, I don't know who to call for my insurance, I don't know how to find a nonprofit near me that might be able to help, or a hotline. Well, then find a trusted friend. And I say trusted because that matters. Because when you're in the midst of your trauma, you need to know that your next step is going to be held safe and secure, and that you can be in control of what your next step is. Because when you've had trauma, you haven't been in control, and you need to be able to feel that.
Yes. Now, why is it that you felt that it was on you to help other people?
Mm. Yeah, I think I was born with that gene. But I think because of what I went through, and I think because I got at times into the depths of despair. And now that I'm on the other side and I see, thank you for helping me push through to get here. Because, there were times when I thought, is this really worth it? And I will tell you, yes, it is. It is. And when you get to that other side, then you can turn around and put your hand out to somebody and help them and say, I have been there. I understand. I might not understand your exact piece, but I understand and I want to help you. And I think that's what happened with me, was that I wanted to pay it forward. I had a lot of people in my life when I couldn't hold my own hope that held the hope for me. And I'm so grateful to all of them. And I felt like, okay, it's time for me to step up. It's time for me to be that person that holds the hope for someone else.
That is so awesome. I when you say that, I'm reminded of one of my friends always says that climbing the mountain of success can be a lonely climb. But when you get to the top, you don't want to be alone. So you have to bring people with you. So I think when, say, like, you're on the healing journey, you you have taken that journey and you were alone and you reached the summit and you're alone now. So you have reached back down to try and help other people up. And I find that very admirable.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. Yes. And same with you, Jeff. I just want to kind of sneak that in. I know you say it's not about you in this, but
thank
I
you.
do want to recognize that for yourself as well.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that.
Mhm.
And the reason I want to give the time to somebody else is I think everybody out there has a story. They just need a platform to tell it. And while that story, a certain story, might not be good for one person, it is good for somebody else.
Yeah.
It can benefit somebody else. It can change somebody else's life. It might even be able to save someone's life. And that is the good that I want to leave in the world.
Yeah.
Because I want to say, because I want somebody to, well, I don't really want somebody to say this, but it would be kind of cool if somebody came up to me and said, because of you, I'm still here.
Yeah.
That would just bring me to tears.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
would be so rewarding.
Absolutely.
So I heard you talking a little bit about a memoir. Can you tell us a little bit about that memoir, what's in it, and how we can get it?
Absolutely. So, my memoir is actually, I happen to have a copy right here.
Is you can show it.
Okay. Is your only as sick as your secrets? And it's sexual abuse awareness, prevention, and intervention. It is a very quick read, but it is straight from the heart. It does talk about my own story, but I vowed when I was writing it that I was going to tell it not from a place of emotion, anger, fear, and all of those were in my first draft. I had to rewrite and revise in order to get the tone that I wanted. And that tone that I wanted was, here is my story, and here's how it can help you. I
Yeah.
wanted it to be about awareness. I didn't want it to be about poor me, this happened. Although, you know what? If somebody's out there and they've had this happen, yes, it is poor them. It is poor them, but it's not going to get them anywhere by being in that poor me. And so that's where you've got to be in the poor me until you can get your own strength to then get to that next point. And that's where I was. So I'm not going to, I'm going to call it and be honest with that. But when I got to the point where I could be feeling better about myself, feeling like, okay, now I can make it through, then I wanted it to be about teaching others. And so in each part, I have a companion workbook as well that goes along with it, where if people are reading my book, they can actually do the companion workbook, which has exercises for them to kind of work through their own stuff as well. And so within the book, I say it's for parents, it's for guardians, it's for teachers and guidance counselors and, professional licensed social workers and doctors and nurses, just it goes on for anyone who comes into contact, neighbors, right? We all, like you said at the beginning, Jeff, we all have been touched by it somehow, whether it's the neighbor that we kind of have this question about, or whether it's actually someone in our own family, or whether it's us, we've been touched by it somehow. And if you haven't been, you probably just don't know yet, and I hope you never have to go through that. But if you do, I wanted a resource for people that would be able to say, okay, I'm reading her story, but I'm also learning so much about what to look for, how to remediate it, how to be able to intervene correctly, and all of those things. Because sometimes we can have the best of intentions as well, and we can think that what we're doing is right, but sometimes those right things in our own minds aren't helpful, and we just don't know it. And so we have to be, especially when there's violence, we have to be really aware and really careful about what our steps are, even if they are coming straight from our heart. So as far as the book goes, I have been, it's selling on Amazon. I had it on my website for a while, but I think it's just easier to go through Amazon and much quicker to receive it than me if I'm sending it. And then for the companion workbook, just reach out to me and I'm happy to get you the information. That's on my website, I believe.
All right. And okay, now, since you said that, that leads me perfectly into my next question.
All right.
How can people get a hold of you if they want to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of different ways. So it's www.donnatemm.com, and that's my website. There is a contact page there. If you want, you can email me as well at donnatemm@gmail.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn and, of course, Facebook. I've got a couple of things on Facebook that you can reach me through. And probably Donna Temm Alternative Solutions is my business page that you can reach me at, but any one of them you can. And soon, very, very soon, I think you'll be able to also reach me at Donna Temm. Nope, I'm fibbing. It's DTTS Foundation. So Donna Temm Trauma Support Foundation, DTTSfoundation.org. And so that is my website for the nonprofit coming quite soon. So there'll also be a contact page there if you want to reach out to me. And there's going to be lots of statistics and lots of, as I talked about, resources for those hotlines if you need them and that type of thing.
That is great. But guys out there, I want you to do me a favor.
Okay.
Not you, but I want everybody out there to listen for a minute. I want you guys to realize that you can be living your best life. Check that out. Now, you can be living your best life, but it's going to take you running towards it, taking that first step. Hey, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, scoot on your butt. If you can't scoot on your butt, get in a wheelchair. Just start moving towards that best life. That's the only way you're going to get there. And just like Donna says, you have to take that first step. Just go. Quit waiting around for something to happen. Quit waiting around for a better time, because there is no better time than this second right here, right now. That's why this is called Make Every Second Count. Because each of those seconds is another chance for you to move towards that best life. Each one of those seconds is one that needs to be celebrated, because it's not guaranteed that it's going to come around in 10 more seconds. In 10 seconds, your life might be over. So why not start now? Why not live that best life now instead of later? So for this week, next week, and the rest of your life, you have to remember to make every second count. Why exactly? Because you never know when those seconds are going to run out on your one life. That's it. We'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much, Donna, for taking the time out of your busy evening to be here with me and my viewers. And guys out there, I just want to tell you to make every second count. I'll see you later. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you so much, Jeff. And thanks everyone for tuning in.